Eddie, we'll start with you. What do you think is the most important IT story business owners should be paying attention to right now?
Hi, thanks, Veronica. Yeah, I read an article in the New York Times this week regarding Dr. Jan LeCun, who's one of the most influential AI researchers in the world and formerly the head of the Meta AI research facility. He's been instrumental in the development of AI technology, and he's asserting that the current AI large language models, or LLMs, are absolutely unable to predict the outcome of their actions. This limitation in and of itself essentially means that they'll never achieve superintelligence. And I just find that interesting considering how a lot of the organizations that are developing AI are leaning so heavily on the LLM models and all of the investment that we're hearing about into data centers and whatnot.
So I want to pause with you right there. LLM, is
Yes,
that
a
uh,
large language model, that is a model in which an AI engine will predict language based on what it has learned.
okay?
John,
So
you
real.
work a lot with AI. I'm curious about your take on this.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if I disagree or agree yet. I do think that there are more evolutions of artificial intelligence that are coming. And whether that's based on a large language model or not, I think it's unknown. I think there will be some things that are stood up next to large language models. And large language models aren't the only thing out there. There's a lot of cases where you're starting to see SLMs or small language models for little minute niche things, right? But even before the whole LLM wave of ChatGPT, which was really what made LLMs popular or what everybody's heard of and thinks of an LLM, even before that, you had different machine learning algorithms, you had different things that existed. And even back then, some of the predictions and what they were doing were really groundbreaking, even for what most people understand AI to be. Like, I'll give you an example. The book Power of Habit was published, I don't know, about 10, 12, 13 years ago. I'd have to look that up exactly, but great book, New York Times bestseller, Power of Habit. It's not about technology or AI or anything in general, but in there's a chapter about habits and it talks about Target and how Target was able to figure out how pregnant a woman was within 2 weeks of her due date based on data they were collecting on that person. That was like 15 years ago now, and that was well before LLMs, right?
Mhm,
I think
mhm.
LLMs have made it easier. I think LLMs have made it cheaper to some extent, and definitely ChatGPT and what's come after ChatGPT with Claude and Anthropic and Copilot and Gemini with Google and stuff has made it more accessible to the normal person, right? Back then, a Target multi-billion dollar company had a large budget, had hired on engineers, stuff like that. It was very out of reach for most small and medium businesses. Now, a lot of that type of predictive stuff could happen on a small or medium business level because of how some of these LLMs work now. So I do also think the data center investment isn't a mute point. I think whether it's an LLM, an SLM, or some other technology, you're going to have the data center infrastructure for it to run. So I don't necessarily know if investing in data center infrastructure right now, it's more focused on LLM is a bad thing because what comes next? What's it going to run on next? It's got to run on something. And so a lot of those investments should be able to be reused, I think. That's my
Yeah,
two
that makes
cents.
that makes a lot of sense. My only concern is the corporate investors behind all of this investment expect a return on their investment within a certain time frame, and which is going to come first, the actual production of the useful product or loss in confidence in their investment.
I think the loss in cost. I think there's a lot of players in the market. There's a lot of people that are coming out doing AI. They're getting lots of investment just because they have AI in the name or
Mhm.
say they're using AI and they're getting lots of money for that. And a lot of these PE firms and people like that, VC firms, are investing in what they don't understand and don't know. And if you
Yeah.
look at like a venture capital model, they're trying to get unicorns. Like, okay, if I have $100 million and I invest 5 million in 20 companies, I only need 1 or 2 companies to do really well and 1 or 2 companies to do okay, and then I could lose the rest. So
Yeah.
even if you look at a lot of the investment models, that means out of 100 companies, they're okay with losing 80 of those. So, to the end
so
user though, they see all those 80 and they think, "Oh, this isn't working," right?
Mhm.
so why does this in specific matter to a business owner if they're looking for a takeaway here?
I think for a business owner, you got to be selective on what technologies you're going to pick. What if you pick a technology that's one of those 80 that goes away, that doesn't make it, that ends up filing bankruptcy, or that ends up being bought out and parted out or whatever? And that's what you staked a lot of your business investment on. And you had this before with the dot com boom and the cloud and some other things
Yeah.
like that. There's some cloud companies that don't exist anymore. There's a lot of cloud consolidation that happened. And then the dot com bubble, it's its own thing, right? There's a lot of history there that older business owners will definitely understand, or investors will definitely understand. So I think from a business point of view, make sure you're going with a company that can weather the storm, that can take the losses, and make sure you're going with a company that seems to be moving right ethically, not just raising bunches of capital to try and make something work that may not ever work.
Right.
Excellent.
Everyone's getting so excited about AI, but it's really important to check your facts and check your sources and consider the source when you're looking at tools that leverage AI, which makes a
Correct.
lot of sense.